morning, good afternoon, good evening, wherever you may be. Welcome to the One Perspective to Another podcast. I'm your humble, gracious host, A. Sanders, here with a very, very special guest, a guest from my home, my beautiful home, the town, Oakland, California.
Oh, goodness.
There you have it, a Mr. Ruwick, the AKA of all Ruwicks.
Ruwick, man. I'm doing good, man. I'm just happy to finally get in touch base with you, man. We've been playing this for like 4 or 5 years, man. It's just time, bro.
It ain't been 4 or 5. I ain't even doing it.
Well, we've been talking about tapping in for a while, though. So, I mean, it's been since what? 2019 was 3 years ago, man. And here we are. Here we are in the future.
Time, man. The floor is yours. You got a very profound thought process when it comes to the present and the future, specifically 2050. But I want you to tell the people, tell me about your topic when it comes to goal planning. Wherever we go, we go. Wherever we don't, we don't.
Right. So, I mean, as you know, you kind of seen how I move. Obviously, I move a certain way because I have other people that depend on me to make the right moves. So what I discovered maybe about 12, 13 years ago is like, if you goal plan and you plan out your goals, there's no way you could lose. I mean, even if you don't hit your mark, you're still way better off than where you were if you didn't even plan for a year. So one thing I noticed, I came up with this idea. Well, it's not an idea. I just discovered it. Is when a lot of us, we grow up, we have these New Year's Eve parties. And a lot of us have those parties where they used to put, a bulletin board up and say, these are your New Year's resolutions. And usually that's a joke, right? Like that's the running joke. Like, don't be one of those people that put New Year's resolutions up and you want to lose weight in the first month of the year and you're at the gym and then don't go. And I mean, that's always been something where I learned. I was like, wow, everyone thinks the New Year's resolutions is a joke. And I used to be the same way. But then I was like, wait a minute. What if I put something on the board and learned how to accurately follow? And with that, I was like, okay, so let's say in 2022, I want to, I want to buy a home, and those things are, a lot of times people are like, oh, that's a joke, right? You're like, oh, no one follows those. It's a scam. It's just for us to have fun with. But, I established this where, well, let me break down my goals. Let me break down a goal, short-term, mid-term, long-term. And obviously you have long-term goals, which are like 5 years out. And, I think for goal planning, if someone establishes, that's something that we really don't do in adulthood. Very few of us actually do that. If you recall, like, very few of us are like, hey, you know what? I've graduated college. I got the job I want. I got the family I want. I'm riding it out.
Yeah,
yeah. And a lot of times, like, we don't have to go anything because we're just living life and we're just getting our money. And I think a lot of people, the way especially we were raised, it was good enough, right? Get a good job, get a good income, have a decent family life, and you're good. Ride it out to retirement and, pass or whatever you believe in. But I also think goal planning helps people, setting goals and planning out your goals helps people achieve things that they really just don't have a grasp on. I think a lot of goal planning was used when in our younger ages. We're younger, like, hey, what do you want to be after high school? What do you want to study in college? What's your dream job? And a lot of times when we get into adulthood, we lose that aspect because we're just trying to survive at this point. You know what I mean? It's not even about
I survive.
In terms of like, we're just trying to get our day-to-day, make sure our income's coming in consistently and making sure that, we have our entertainment and just make sure food's on our table and we have shelter.
You mean like not survive, but like survive to maintain our lifestyle.
Yeah, exactly. Okay. So, yeah. So I mean, with goal planning, I think it's really good because if you plan out your short-term goals, I mean, if you plan out your goals, you have short-term, mid-year, long-term, you have 1 year goals, 2 year goals, 5 year goals, 10-year goals, right? Like, and those are things that, you can develop over time. So it doesn't have to be a running joke. Every year you're restarting that bar where like, hey, last year I said I was going to lose weight. this year's my year to lose weight, and then there's no substance behind it. You know what I'm saying? Like there's really no accountability you're holding yourself against. There's no measure, there's no bar to maintain. And then other ways to elevate your goal is whatever you need. Like let's say, I'm tired of my job, but I have no skills, I have no education. Let me go ahead and plan how I can get a better job and how I can get better income, or whatever, right? Like how I can become a better artist, a better musician, a better athlete. Like there's ways for you to plan out your goals and become that better of whatever you're doing. And goals are also it's a guide for adulthood. A lot of times I think a lot of our peers, they finish college, their goal was to get their degree and work in their field, and then after that there's no more guide. You know what I mean? There's no more requirements to graduate. It's just like, hey, you're cut loose.
That, I don't want to cut you off, but on that part right there, it makes the most sense because, like you said, for us growing up, there was no blueprint after getting here. So it's like
right.
The goal aspect of things turns into what kind of lifestyle do I want to live moving forward? Like you said earlier, like I got the family, I got the kids, I got the lifestyle, doing what I want to do, but some people don't want more, but some people do. And that getting to that crossroad is I think just being around, like living out here, some people don't care to cross that road and create more goals.
And you're super correct, because as you know, where we come from, there's a crossroad. I always call it's a crossroad we have to cross. And it's funny because I have a discussion with a lot of my friends maybe like 10 years ago to this day. I was like, bro, you crossed over, didn't you? And there's a difference, right? Because at a threshold, there's a place where we live where it's like hyphy movement. It's like we're turned up, we're ghetto fabulous, and we're working these bad, I would say shit jobs, because most of these jobs they just turn over and there's no real career. And there's times where people will make that shift where they become, accountable, they become dependable. They're not really with the old stuff that we used to do when we were younger adults, right? We're now like, we got respectable jobs, we treat and talk to people with respect, and it's just more, obviously it's called adulthood, but you've been around people, man. There's a big difference between how we used to live in the old days. I mean, young adults or young whatever, to now. How we're, we're 401ks. We're
1,000. We was talking about that the other day when talking about the jobs when you work in retail. Like, they don't care about you. It's just a job. Like that.
Right.
That's a crossroad in the mindset of what somebody thinks about you in a working environment. Like, that's a prime example.
Exactly. And that goes with, it's a lot of our peers too, because we're minorities, bro. Like it's you got your education, you got a high school diploma. If you don't, cool. You in the warehouse, you in the back building boxes. You know what I'm saying? And that's what goal planning for people that I've helped over the years is like, bro, you want to get out of the warehouse? I can help you, because I did that. You did that. Like we went from retail, went from dead end jobs to, getting paid by the teams. And now we're up there, bro. We're up there. We living in the Bay on our own. You know what I mean? There's no handout. There's no,
it ain't no help,
government cheese. You feel me? That's out the window, because, like there's a way to cross over. And that's why I use the goal plan. I told my boys, man, I'm like, hey, you want help? I can help you. I give you pointers. I'll let you know. Like, obviously the first things first is you can't be acting like that. So now you have to goal plan your behaviors. And if you know me growing up, my behavior was the worst.
Hey,
it was on site.
That's a perspective like I've never thought about. You got to goal plan your attitude. That's the one right there.
Yeah. So, and I'll give you an example, right? Like for how I enter a year. Let's say this year is 2011, and I'm just tired of working dead end job. Temp job to temp job, and I'm talking. I'm like, hey, you know what? Something needs to change this year, and we've all been through that. Something needs to change this year, and usually nothing changes. It's just more of the same. But there's ways where it's like, okay, something needs to change here. This year, you know what I'm going to do? I'm going to get a nighttime job over shift. Then I'm going to go back to school. And when I go back to school, I'm going to go back to school within the first 3 months of the new year. So what I'm doing is 0 to 3 months. I break my years down into quarters. So I go 4 obviously 4 quarters, but I do 3 months. And it's January 1st to December 31st. So the first 3 months, I'm working on short-term goals, something I could fix, right? Like I know 100% I could fix, like contact the school official, get signed up for school, apply for financial aid, get a job at nighttime, right? Establish that base. And then, you have a checklist. And then the 6-month goal would be take 2 or 3 courses and pass them. Get the ball rolling, right? You want to go ahead. Some people, they like to go all in and put 12 units on them. It's first day back, and then they end up dropping all of them because it's overwhelming. So people will have to know their limits, right? So that's why I break it into 4 quarters. So what I would have myself or a person do is in the first 6 months, you want to take 2, 3 courses, right? Get the ball rolling, get used to being in class, get used to meeting deadlines and assignments, get used to that terrible shift at midnight. That shifts are the worst. And then 9 months, it's like, okay, put together a second semester. So now at 9 months, you have a second semester. And then at 9 months, you would have, that job, maybe save like $2,000 or $3,000 from that job. And by the end of the year, you would have complete your first full year of school. You know what I mean? Get used to that job role that you're in. And then by the next year, it's water under the bridge. You've already mastered being a student. So you change your life from being at a dead-end job, coming home, doing nothing, no education. By the end of that year, you've now amassed a full year of education, and now you could take that education to get a higher paying job. Or if you're grinding, keep the consistent job and then build on that year.
Consistency is key.
Consistency is key, man.
From explaining that, you speaking from hindsight, but what made you want to break it down instead of, like you say, being the student who's going to take the 12 units and work part-time? Like, what made you choose that route of breaking it down?
I chose it because I've been through it when I was young. For example, I was younger. I was taking like, let me take 15 units because I'm smart, I'm intelligent. But also what I didn't understand is I was broke. I have kids. I was saying there's days where it's like, okay, I got 50 units. I have to go to school every single day. Back then, it was for us, it was an hour a day. They kind of changed the schedule this day. It's like hour and a half, 2 days a week. But for us, if you remember, it was 1 hour. Classes went back to back. Right. And it was like, you got to be there 5 days a week, 3 units. It's like the hours add up, right? It's like 5 hours or whatever. And then like for us, it was that. So consistency, you had to be in class every day. Well, I was like, well, I didn't think about it. I also played sports. So it was my job. I'm like, I got a young child. So it's like, I can't come to school because my kid is sick. And guess what? Kids ain't sick just one day. They sick 3 to 4 days. So now before COVID, like you had to miss like 3, 4 days. Now you behind a class. And you didn't just miss like 4 classes. I mean, for one class, you missed 4 classes worth of assignments. And that adds up. And then, doctor's appointments, transportation issues, things like that. Yeah, practice, weight room, all that stuff. So you learn from your mistakes. You know what I mean? Like, just like you learn from your bad jobs. You've taken a bad job and you're like, oh, this job sucks. But you know what? I have to work. So, you could either say, you know what? I want a better job. I want a better job, or I'm going to keep working this and be miserable. And I'm just going to drink my sorrows away, or I'm going to smoke my sorrows away. Or I'm going to keep working and be a drone in a plant. I mean, that happens too.
True. Yeah, you had your circumstances definitely made you, I don't want to say made you, but you still made a choice to choose what you chose. You know what I'm saying? But
exactly.
A lot of people don't make that choice. A lot of people lose out. Like,
yeah. And that's also issues because they don't know how to make that choice. You know what I mean? You'll talk to people that we grew up with, be like, man, I want to do something different. I want to make a change. I'm tired of working here. I'm tired of my baby mama cussing me out because I ain't got no money, man. You know what I mean? Like, we grew up with that, right? Like, we grew up with that. We don't see people get kicked out their house and they got to pick up all their clothes, or somebody get kicked out the car and now they walking cussing. You know what I mean? We've seen that because a lot of times it's over money. You know what I mean? So, I mean, and people want to make that change, but they don't know how. And, that's why I always tell people, you got to plan out what you want to do because it's going to work. And let's just say I didn't get to where I wanted to be, right? Let's say I didn't get where I wanted to be. Let's say I worked that full year. I was with that goal. In 6 months, I had like 6 units, but I'm working a night shift now. Well, guess what? I'm working at night now. I have the whole day to myself. so I could do something else too. Like, I mean, you're better off, right? You changed your circumstances. You grabbed your life and was like, I'm going to make a change. And if it didn't work out, I'm a lot better than if I didn't make a move at all.
True.
So, I mean,
in that, I feel you 1,000% in hearing that, because like I seen it too. Like you say, we all saw it, but it's easier said than done, bro.
correct.
1,000% is easier said than done. Because I could tell you 100 stories about people who explaining literally what you're talking about who don't even get past that first quarter.
Straight up. Yep.
Go back to what's easy, because it's easier to choose what's easier.
Right, exactly. It's easy to quit too. I mean, we've all done something where we were like, this ain't working out. Or it's what they say. It takes 21 days to 10,000. Wait, not 10,000. It takes 21 days to create a good habit, and then it takes 10,000 hours to perfect whatever you're doing. So I mean that, obviously that's just because I've been around it for so long. It's water under the bridge for me. But I would say people who want to make that change, it's a blueprint out there to make it. And also, one thing I notice is if people write it down, it's easier to follow. And now we live in an era where we're not rocking notebooks and pens, but we have social media, and we have a lot of people who, I think social media is a great tool, man. You put your goals. I do this every year, man. I put my goals on the first day, this first like 6 days of the new year. And that's my goals. I've already thought about it like 2 weeks before the year ends. Because, you got to always evaluate. You got to make sure, you got to check back in somewhere where you write it. So I always put on social media because it's a good barometer, because Facebook actually has a good feature where it has memories. So every day, so like after this year, 2023, it's going to have like 1/6/2023, and it's going to have memories. And I get to read everything I did. And if I get to look at it like, oh, wait, I did that. No, I didn't do that. Actually, I forgot about that. I mean, which obviously in the past I did, but now, no, I cover everything. And, it's just, you got to use things that are very tactical for you to accurately plan out what you want to do. You know what I mean? Social media is great because obviously you put it on a social platform, it's public. So now you got people hitting you up like, hey, did you do that? You know what I mean? And,
you got the world being accountable for you.
Right. And usually people write it down in a journal or whatever. But I mean, I go through like 40 notebooks. I probably have like a whole garage section full of notebooks that I've written in. I mean, that writing stuff is good because it's personal and it's yours and no one else to see. And, we're taught to document stuff. You know what I mean? Like, when we die, you want everything's documented that we write down. They write it down. You never know. I mean, those things that's who you are as a person. That's what you leave behind. I mean, that's stuff we're talking about. That's philosophy, right? Like, Plato and Aristotle and all them and those folks, they wrote it down, and now we're dissecting it and trying to figure out what it is. So, with goals, you just write it down. You write it down, you have something to come back from, and you could look at it and be like, did I achieve what I sought out to do? No. Okay, well, let's keep going. Did I do it? Yes. Cross off the list. That's achieved. That's us.
So you use, I don't know if you thought of it in this sense, but like you use Facebook as your vision board almost in a sense.
Pretty much, yeah. But now I use it for accountability.
More accountability.
And people like us, bro, we'll put it up. Like we'll find a post from 6 years ago, and hey, Brad, did you ever? You feel me? Yeah, Michigan. When did you play at Michigan? No, they be doing me dirty, bro. I hate that. That's the worst. But it's funny though. But you put something up, be like, hey man, I thought you was gonna lose 200 pounds, boy, you 300, right? Like, yeah, you know what I'm saying? Your peer pressure is still a thing. You know what I'm saying? Peer pressure is still the number one, motivation tool because you're judged by a jury of your peers. You know what I'm saying? And that's how we operate, right? Like, if you didn't say, you know what, did you do this? You're like, man, you got me. But I'm still working on it.
Say like, we all do lone wolf things, but at the end of the day, like we're still all community. No matter how far apart we are from people and shit, like that's the accountability I see in that.
Right.
With Facebook, social media, I think it just made it more visible and digital.
And I think that's the best part about it too. I mean, it's the downside because everyone's like, oh, you can put everything on there, right? Like you remember the old days, everybody used to put food up every single time. Like that's different, right? We're not talking about that. I mean, there's ways to utilize social media and there's ways to have fun. I think if people were to put like, hey, you know what, by this time next year, I mean, obviously the goals don't want to be too absurd. Like by the time this next year, I'm gonna have $4 million. You know what I mean? I'm gonna have
Hey,
a
you never
mansion, a
know that
Ferrari.
Sheba.
Yeah. Right. You don't, but he's stupid, bro. Actually, I sold it that hype, bro. I feel bad, but I did. I had to, bro. It was too much to pass up. Anyway, it went down too, so I'm okay for now. But no, but what I'm saying is obviously the goals have to be realistic, right? Like if I have no training in what I do, and then I want to become a professor and teach like kinesiology, like obviously the goals have to be within what you want to do. Now, obviously, if I say I want to go back to school and get my kinesiology degree, well, I'm gonna map that out, right? I'm gonna go talk to a counselor. I'm gonna go and take the basic courses. You take that step by step. So that's a little different, right? We also want to make sure our goals are more in lines of what we can actually not achieve, because we could really achieve anything we want to do, but mostly like what we're in line to what's going on in our life.
You just using that as an example, or you want to go back to school and get your master's for kids?
No, it's an example.
Oh, okay.
I mean, I'm gonna have to do something though. Obviously, my profession is football and accounting, but also like that helped me with my Raider. I used that guide to get to where I wanted to be with the Raiders, and that's when I figured like it's worked for me in the past. It's worked for, and it's gonna work for me here. And then when it finally worked, I was like, oh shit, this shit works. Like it works because now I put it to the test with
from the town.
I put it to the test with a professional setting, bro. Like, you understand how hard that was? And like I was like, I gave myself a window. I was like, if I can't do this in this window, I don't know what I'm gonna do. Because I got young kids. My kids are growing up. I got a wife, bro. She's like, what's up, bro? Like, you gonna do this or what? Because we can't be doing this. Like, you can't tell me you got a dream and the dream don't work. Well, you gonna be 40 years old. Like, I got a dream. That's the same dream that you had when you was 20. Like, by the time there's reality set in. You have to look at your life and be like, bro, did you do what you're supposed to do, or you just wishing on a pipe dream? Right?
Rye would have been left, boy.
You feel me? My boy living in the same spot he was in, bro. I'm talking about, damn, I got to do this. Like, nah, bro. At the end of the day, it's a wrap. Obviously, it's never too late to achieve your dreams, but life goes on. People grow, and we live with each other. Like you said, community based, man. Like, we have people we live with or live around that are affected. I mean, but like, yeah. So with the Raiders, like, my barber knows best, bro. Because my barber, when my barber, you know what I'm saying? I sat in this seat and was like, hey, bro, I got hired by the Raiders, bro. He's like, good job. What you doing? I told him, I was like, yeah, I'm doing a fan services concierge. But I was like, I got a plan though. And I told him my plan. And that was a year-to-year plan. It wasn't a month-to-month plan, but the year-to-year plan was which is something that it wasn't documented, but mentally, the real good stuff you have to keep to yourself.
Yeah.
You have to. Like, I can't sit there and be like, in year 1, I'm going to do this. Year 2, I'm going to do this. In year 3, I'm going to do this. Year 4, I'm going to do this. Because then if it doesn't happen, those boys will let you know, right?
100%.
That boys was asking me up and down, why didn't you go to Vegas? Like, bro, don't got nothing to do with anything. You know what I'm saying? But like, let's say, for example, how I did this. I got hired by the Raiders to do concierge. I told them when I got hired, actually, I was actually at Berkeley visiting the campus. And then they had a recruiting service going. I talked to the lady, man. And I was like, hey, I love the Raiders. I love football. And I will do whatever it needs to be done to make sure I'm here. And they hit me back, called me back. Had an interview. It was like, whatever you need me to do, I'll do. I don't care what it is. I said, if you got me, scrub, and literally, we've heard this cliche before. If you want me to scrub toilets and take your laundry out, I will do it. You want me to go pick up some coffee for you? I will do it. Whatever you want, I'll do it, right? And that's always cliche, right? You always hear people in like the millionaire videos or the little shorts they have on YouTube now. We're like, you gotta be willing, whatever it takes. We can't breathe, right? Eric Thomas, right? You gotta want it more than you could breathe. And when I told them, I was like, there. And mind you, I'm competing with people who have their master's degree in sports management. I'm competing with people who had, 24-year-olds, bro, like that had like everything they could have wanted, and they're just here because it's a shield.
Yep.
Right, and it's a prestigious job. I'm over here with no AA, still in school, got 3 kids, My boy just tore ACL sitting down, like, like I'm saying, this man broke it sitting down in this interview, bro, trying to get a job, and they brought me in, bro, and I, I was like, okay, so my first year I'm in, I'm just gonna shut the fuck up and smile. I ain't gonna do no name. I'm not gonna, you talk to people and all that, just shut up and smile, so smile and wave, boys, like Madagascar or the Penguins, just smile and wave. So now, I was like, okay, so my first year, I'm just gonna smile and wave, and, do whatever it takes. Whatever they need, just be a supporting person, right? Like I had to go to that stadium about maybe 4 times a year to like reorganize. You know what I'm saying? Like that's the grind, bro. Like I had to go to the facility and go lift up boxes. You know what I mean? And then, you're making friends along the way too. You're networking. And also you're showing people your work ethic. Like this motherfucker is working.
Those are key words right there.
Bruh, you know what I'm saying? Like that people are looking at you like, I don't know who this dude is, but he keeps showing up to help. I like him.
Hard. I like
him. Yeah. You know what I'm saying? Year 2, like I'm shaking hands and I'm letting them know my name. You know what I mean? Mark Bedane is the president for Raiders. I shook his hand and said, hey, Mark, how you doing? I'm Reuben. I'm here to help you. We have, I was still in the concierge. I was on the upper level. Your boy's moving up. So I'm over here, shaking former players' hands. And I'm like, hey, man, how you doing? This is me. This is what I want to do. You know what I mean? And I'm just, shaking other people's hands. And we have free food. So we're eating at the lunch. And I'm just having conversation with people and just being a good soldier, right? Like just, let them know this is who I am, smiling, remember my name. And then my 3rd year, I hit up HR, was like, hey, you have any openings, let me know. Right. And now by this time, HR actually knows who I am because I'm saying hi to them every day. We work, or I shook their hands and I'm having lunch with them. I'm sitting down, I'm just having casual conversation. Right. Can you imagine if you go up to a stranger and be like, hey, my name's so-and-so, do you have an opening?
Yeah, you getting shrugged off instantly.
Yeah, they gonna look at you cold. You get this. You can't cold call them, bro. You have a lead, you gonna get the sell. You cold call somebody, say, "Hey, I need you to give me $25,000." You gonna get the click.
Yep.
Right. If you're talking for somebody, hold on. My bad. I had a phone call. If you're talking to somebody for like 6 months, hello.
Yeah.
Oh man, same phone call. Like if you're talking to somebody 6 months, you're buttering up, right? You're softening them up. You're lowering down their walls. Hey, bam, I got this great offer for you, $25,000. You pay for this window right now. We take a little down payment, maybe $5,000, and then you can finance the rest. Boom. Yes, sir. What do I sign? All right. So when I got there, HR put me in. I ran through all the interview process. I got hired. Boom. The rest is history, man. Yeah, I'm in the door. I'm in the door, bro.
Before you get to this closeout on this fourth topic, on this fourth part of that, everything that you explained comes very simple and easy for us because of where we're from. Right. I want to say the town, but I'm going to say the Bay, because there is a lot of individuals like from the Bay Area who do exactly what you just explained. That comes easy as fuck to us because we grew up finessing. We grew up.
Yeah.
We grew up doing 10 things at once. So it's second nature to us. But a lot of people don't get that. And it's
they don't.
That's a part of the sauce you was talking about before of like, I can't give you everything, but like either you got it or you don't, but like it helps to have it.
Straight up. And that's what people don't understand. Like you could say you from a spot, you know what I'm saying? You can grow up in certain spots. But one thing about the town is that the game that they taught us in the town from kids, that's unmatched, bro. Like that is unmatched. Like we learned the game in the 90s growing up, not just in the 90s, like in the East. I'm talking about the 90s, the year. That whole time frame, that was game, recognized game. You remember? I used to tell my wife, I was like, you know what? Because she's from Vallejo in the city. I'm like, when I grew up in Oakland, I got 5 on it, was on every single car. You rode down every single block in the town. I got 5 on it. It was on every single slap. That was the slap, bro. You know what I'm saying? Like that was like, and I asked, I was like, what was y'all slapping? Because obviously it's E40 and Mac Dre, right? It's a different world. And, they just, they probably slap and sprinkle me, right? Sprinkle me, you know what I'm saying? You know what I'm saying? So I was like, the game we have is rooted in us. So obviously, I run game. But that doesn't take away from what I planned. And that didn't take away from, what kind of work I put in for, to get there. But the crazy part about it is if I would have told you 5 years ago, hey, I'm gonna work for the Raiders, bro. All right, bro. Go ahead, man. Go click them tickets, bro. You know what I'm saying? What you working at the Raiders? Are you doing some what's the little landmark security, bro? You know what I'm saying? Like, right? Like that's you know what I'm saying? That's how, because where we from and how we think, you know, we're like, all right, cool. And if I would have told people what I was working on, they would have been like, bro, you ain't hitting that. And then if I think about it, like, damn, they might be right, bro. Like, I don't have my master's degree. I didn't play like, college football. You know what I'm saying? Like things like that, right? Like all the doubt sets in. But when you do, obviously, when you go plan, you can't have any doubt. Like I said, if you plan for plan B, then don't even work on plan A, because now you're saying I'm gonna fail. I'm gonna fail
100%.
because I'm making a plan.
100%.
And I didn't learn that. I didn't learn that until I got this position, bro. Because it's like everything in my life that happened, it made sense. You know what I'm saying? Like all the L's I took, all the injuries I took, all the bad jobs I had, all the, you know, family issues growing up, all that stuff, man. I was like, oh, this all makes sense and it's all worth it.
The
Because now I'm
beauty of
rubbing.
hindsight, bro.
You feel me?
The
The
beauty of it.
hindsight, hey, bro, 2050, bro. 2050, bro. That's
Hindsight
what I'm
is
saying.
2050. That's what this is called.
It's stupid. You know what I'm saying? No, like it's like all the L's was worth it. And I told him in my first interview, I said, you know what? When I sit in this hall, I really thought as thought growing up, I'd be here as a player. And obviously things happen in your life, right? Like injuries and family, and you don't take care of your business, educational and all that stuff. That happens. Kids, all that stuff, right? There's every X, Y, and Z. But I guarantee if I had a goal plan that as a kid, bro, as a freshman in high school, and I had these goals, how I planned these goals and written them out, I would have been where I was supposed to be. But, you know, God happens, bro. God happens, and I still got to where I wanted to be. And that's the craziest part, because I was competing with people who were Harvard Ivy League student graduates, bro. I was competing with a 24-year-old that graduated from Harvard in business analytics, and he's like 6'2". He played linebacker. Like that was my competition. You know what I'm saying? And it's crazy, but everything happens for a reason. But the reason why it happened is because I planned my goals out.
Yeah, bro. A piece of paper don't mean that you are a complete person, bro.
Right, straight up. And that's why I'll always help people, bro, because it's like those type of things help build character, but those type of things help build, you know, it builds a stable community environment. Like you said, we're all community based, bro. Like if I eat and I can go coach kids and I can tell them exactly what it looks like, guess what? Those kids are going to be adults one day. And that's why I love teaching little kids, bro, because if I teach little kids that standard, they'll know no other standard.
Hey, because they ain't going to need nothing else. There's always that one teaching. I don't know where it comes from. It may be from Coach Rue. It may be from a teacher. It may be from a professor, whoever it may be. But that shit lasts inside of you forever, bro.
Straight up.
Those stories and those molds, they last forever.
Straight up. And let me get off camera real quick. That it does last forever, because I already know a lot of the stuff that I learned, my teachers probably taught me. I just didn't pay attention because I was wild. You know what I mean? But a lot of, and even some of your parents too, like some of the stuff our parents teach us maybe don't make sense, or some of the stuff your coaches teach you don't make sense, but it builds who you are. So obviously if you're around people that ain't good for you, that is going to build it's going to build around you. But also that also goes into goal planning, right? Like, let me plan to remove myself from these boys because they out here hitting licks and robbing people. Let me get up out of here, because guess what I'm gonna be doing in 6 months if I stay with them.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I'm saying? That's just a choice we all have to make. But I mean, I've helped people because, you know, I've helped people with this very same method. I had this one girl who was like, "Hey, I got some money from taxes. What do I do?" I said, "Well, put in some penny stocks." Right? You know what I'm saying? Put in some penny stocks. So like, she's like, "Well, I don't know what to do." I was like, "It's very simple. Read a chart. Can you read a chart? What goes up must come down. You know, what goes down must come up. Buy low, sell high." And long story short, she put that money into what was the one that boomed last year? I'm sorry, I'm drawing a blank on it. It was a crypto. Doge. She put money in Doge, bro. She put money in Doge when it was like, I think she put like
pre-Doge boom.
Yeah, pre-Doge, bro. I don't know what she did. She hit me back, was like, "Hey, I put 1,000 in and I'm up 5." I said, "Sell it." And you know what? And I say that because she was like on Twitter, and they're like Twitter saying hold. I said, I hear you, but you put 1,000 in there, and I know you that you're not putting 1,000 every year or 1,000 every month. You just put 1,000 in 4 years ago. Sell it, because you're not take the 5K. You've earned it. Go on a vacation. You've done exactly what, because like you and I, we have a hunger for certain things like that, right? Like we're gonna find something and just dump it and put 50 every week, like we did with Sheba, right? And it hit big, but people like that, they wanted to help. So I'm like, hey, there's the help, bro. You understand? You got it. But anyway, that's a little different, right? So that's investing. But yeah, so to close out the goal planning, man, it's just a guide through adulthood, bro. Like once you develop that, it just becomes a part of who you are. Like my goals, I write my goals, and my wife looks at them and she's like, that's what you're gonna do? She's like, wow, you just make it look so easy. I was like, yeah, it's easy because I've been doing it for 7 to 10 years now. And so it's my guide now. It's like a checklist for a video game. It's objectives, right? Like I have to do X, Y, and Z in order to pass the level. It's a quest. That's what it is. It's a quest. And it's not even that I don't even bat my eye when I make a goal anymore. It's like, oh, that's what you finna do? That's what your brain wants to do this year? Okay, bro, go ahead and handle it. And for example, like I was like, all right, I want to work out 3 times a week or 10 times a month. That's my goal. In 3 months, I'm going to evaluate what I've been doing. In 6 months, I'm going to evaluate what I'm doing. By a year, I should have no excuse. You know what I'm saying? Like that. And those kind of goals, you just write them out. You write them off. There's not even a evaluate. Like, oh, you did that in 3 months? Yes, cross it out. So now it's a habit, right? So I got always set up myself for baby goals, big goals, and longevity goals, right? Small stuff. Like I want to recycle more. There you go. So now I have a habit of sorting out my trash.
Doable versus what's changeable. I like that.
Yeah. It's just, it's for me. It's like law, right? It's like a law ball, right? Go ahead. Let me get an easy ball. Let me hit a home run. Feel good about myself, and it gives me confidence to build higher stuff. Yeah, I don't know if you remember, but I taught myself how to do the Rubik's Cube. You remember that?
Y'all did the Rubik's Cube.
I know, but like I had to teach myself an adult because I never cared as a patient. But that one year, I was like, okay, so my goal is to do the Rubik's Cube in the first 3 months of the new year. But also, what I was doing is I was challenging my brain to learn something new that I had no interest in learning. You know what I'm saying? That anything it had that solving the Rubik's Cube had no financial bearings on my success.
Was that the small, the mid, or the long?
That was the small. That was the 0 to 3 months.
Okay. That makes sense. So, it's all connected. I see.
It's all connected, man. It's like someone else is looking. Let's say outside looking at like this motherfucker learning Rubik's Cube. This motherfucker like, all right, where would you 10? You know, like
that's what it is, bro. That's why I do OPTA. It's how we perceive another person's perspective. Like,
right?
Because we was all in that boat, bro. I pull out my Rubik's Cube too.
You feel me? But it's fun too because it challenges. Somebody doing something else. You're like, all right, let me pull out my Rubik's Cube, see if I still remember how to do it. You know what I mean? It's trickled down. It's trickled down too. But for me, it was like, let me teach myself discipline. I'm teaching myself discipline. Damn, this shit hard. I can't get it. All right, I got it. I got the first side. Okay, cool. All right, now you got to master the second side. All right, then I finally mastered it. And then after I mastered, I was like, okay, let's see if I can do it under 5 minutes. All right, let's see if I can do it under 2 minutes. I can't do it under 2. Anything under 2. My fingers ain't long enough, bro. I can't do it under 2.
I've only done that one time. But let me ask you this about that. When the first time you ever taught yourself how to do the Rubik's Cube, did you do it one hole at a time or do you did one color at a time?
When I first taught myself how to do the Rubik's Cube, I did one side at a time. So I think I spent like 3 days doing the white.
Gotcha.
And then once you did the white, and the way I learned is it did by layer. So white layer, and then the bottom, top, until the yellow side opposite. But what I was training my brain is, can you learn something completely irrelevant and still master it? And I did that. And that's the same year I got hired by the Raiders, bro.
Full circle.
Right? Because now I believe that what I'm doing is accurate. Like, I feel like, and we don't know what's gonna happen. I probably could have got hired him that year, and I never did that, right? But now you showed yourself that you can do something that you felt like was impossible. Like, I never thought I could do the Rubik's Cube. I never thought it. I never thought, like, I was like, man, that's for those, other people, right? Like those are for like all the people, right? They got, they did the fidget spinner, right? Give me the fidget spinner. That's something easy I can mess with. You know what I'm saying? A little circle, spin in a circle. But it was just something very easy that it's a law ball, bro. Something that I feel like that was attainable and that could help me get to other stuff. So, I mean, yeah. So that was just the aspect. But yeah, man, like goal planning is a guide to our adulthood, bro. Like at the end of the day, we grew up in the era where the American dream was to buy a house, have a nice job, have a good family. That was the American dream. That American dream blew up in our face in 2009 after the recession. Your boy Bush, George Bush Jr., bro.
I feel like it put itself into that hindsight at 2050. Yeah. Maybe we listen back to this in 2050 in the metaverse. I don't know. We'll see.
Bro, man, we still gonna be here 2050. We gonna be young, bro. You know what I'm saying? Hopefully, man. But yeah, man, it's like just the goal planning itself it's a guide through adulthood. Like I don't have to use a goal. I can just do. And then I feel like sometimes people get lost. I think like if you don't really goal plan and plan out what you want to do, I feel like the years become the same. That's why you hear people, oh, it's just the same as last year. I'll be like, really? Because for me, it's not. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah. Well, like I say too, like dealing with so many different people I done talked to from doing this stuff, some people don't even get there, bro. And I'm not saying that it makes him a bad human or a bad individual.
No.
People just don't choose to step that way. But right. I'm like, if you're happy, then you're happy. Like I ain't gonna take away nobody's joy and happiness for life. For some people
straight up
a little bit more. It ain't nothing wrong with that either.
Straight up. And yeah, and it's not goal planning. I wouldn't say it's for everybody, but obviously it's something that people want, right? Like if you're a go-getter, go be a go-getter. You know what I mean? But like you said, some people are content. You know what I'm saying? I was telling one of my boys who's a a small business owner, he was complaining like, if you're happy for taxes, man, you should look at yourself. And I was telling him, man, you're an entrepreneur, but not everyone could be chiefs. You need soldiers. You know what I'm saying? Not everybody can be soldiers. You need leaders. You know what I'm saying? So it's an offset, bro. That's the beauty of capitalism, right? It's an offset, and there's also a lot of holes. But same thing with goal planning, right? Like not everyone could plan the goals, and goal planning isn't one size fits all for success. But I think a lot of people can benefit from it, especially people who feel like they're lost and they don't know what to do.
And for some I've had that a lot. You don't even have to do the mid-term or the long-term. Maybe some people just do short-term and be cool with it.
Right. Yeah, and that's cool too, right? Like, hey man, this month, man, I'm gonna go to the gym, man. I'm gonna take it day by day. Sometimes things don't happen, but I always use the gym because that's usually everyone's New Year's resolution, parent, bro.
Visible.
Yeah, and that's the New Year's resolution. Can't see. Right, and that people don't understand how long that takes. That's why that gym stuff it has to be a 6-month evaluation. You got to give yourself 6 months because you could work for 3 months and you can get heavier because you're toning your muscles. You know what I'm saying? But man. Yeah, man. It's just
we gonna get you on that. We gonna get you on that. Because I feel like you want to go somewhere else, but that's for another episode.
No, not at all. Because I'm not there yet, bro. I can't talk about that until I hit that goal. That's one of my goals this year. That's all. That's one of my goals. My goal is to be in the gym, 3 times a week, 10 times a month. Because I have no more excuses, man. My knees are healthy. I'm not hurt. No more surgery. You know what I mean? Like I'm at home working from home, so there's no excuses, man. So I mean, in conclusion, bro, like. It's always good to plan short-term, long-term, 1 year, 2 year, year-to-year basis, evaluate yourself. It's just a guide through adulthood, man. You know what I mean? I think it's something that works. I've had people who contacted me, hit me up, was like, how did you do X, Y, and Z? And I'm like, how did I do X, Y, and Z? I did this, and that. And I take it year by year. You know this because you have some philosophy background. Is like, you can't worry about yesterday. You can't worry about tomorrow, right? You have to worry about today. What can you do today to make your circumstances better?
Yeah,
and that's one thing I learned. Like you could look back and learn from the past, and you look in the future and be hopeful. But if you get lost in the past, that creates depression. You get lost in the future, that creates anxiety. So you got to be mindful. Stay where you at right now. Today is today.
100%. You
So,
are the
man,
walking epitome of that, my brother.
Hey, man, we gotta do. I'm not even like I say, man. I'm not even scratching the surface yet, man. This is just the beginning.
2050. We
2050.
2050. On that note,
man.
We
Michigan
gonna get
alumni.
up out of here. You got anything you want to say? You done said everything already. As always, tell two friends to tell two friends. We are available on all podcast platforms: Stitcher, Amazon, Apple Music, wherever you get your podcast. Tell two friends to tell two friends. Thank Reuben for being on the podcast. We will put all his information on the show notes, and we will catch you on the flip side. And I am out.
All right, bro.